Thank you very much, all. Appreciate you joining me this morning. We're going to run through this moderately quickly and hopefully have some time for questions after. This is our 5th year in business for Cerrado, and we're pretty proud of what we've accomplished in this very short period of time. We have 2 assets, one in Brazil, which is a development project, and we have a production asset in Argentina. Both are world-class assets in our view. They're discovery assets at a very, very early stage of inception. Argentina, we produced last year 54,000 ounces. We've announced this year we're going to go to 60 to 70, followed by 70 to 80 the year following. We're also looking to bring our costs down by the end of 24 down to about $1,000 all in. So while we're in production there, we're still very much in the startup mode there. We bought that asset in 2020, just prior to the COVID, and we've really done a phenomenal job. The team down there have done a phenomenal job turning around, and we're now in that very aggressive growth phase. Argentina basically funds itself. It looks after itself. As a matter of fact, maybe some of you last night saw a press release that we issued. We announced a $10 million equalization stream with Sprott for Argentina. The nice thing is that that's a stream that will be used against production in Argentina, but that'll come up to our balance sheet in Toronto. We have a very strong balance sheet in Canada, I think, in terms of in the corporate level. I think at the end of the year, we were around $7 million. We haven't spent a great deal of money, so I think we're still pretty even. Add the new money in, and we're in pretty good shape. We have Brazil, which was their first asset that we acquired in 2018. This is a world-class development asset. We've done a PEA in the 4 years we've been working there. We've taken it from nothing to 1.3 million ounces. We'll complete a feasibility study by the end of May. We did a PEA, which is probably one of the best PEAs that I've seen in my career, with a 95% IRR after tax and about a $617 million NPV based on a $125 million build. We expect to see a phenomenal feasibility study coming out by the end of May. So we have a strong management team both in Argentina and in Brazil on the corporate side. We've done a lot of projects, made a lot of money for shareholders. We believe that we're going to continue to roll that as we are today. We've been growing our production. Since Argentina we acquired in 2020, they were producing at 21,000 ounces. So we've ramped that up in 21 to 43,000 ounces, 54,000 ounces in 22. And as I mentioned, really strong growth profile that we have coming ahead. And what I want to highlight here is our existing shareholders, our funding shareholders, initial shareholders have done exceptionally well, but we still strongly believe that the value creation phase is ahead of us. As I mentioned, we're in Brazil, we're in Argentina. Our lead project, I like to say, is Monte do Carmo. We're in Tocantins state in Brazil. It's a very rich state. It's a very agricultural-driven state, significant agribusiness. And basically, it's flat. The topography is benign. We're not in the jungle. It's very easy to work, and the infrastructure is amazing. I'll talk to you about that in a moment. As I mentioned, we did a PEA in September of 21, phenomenal results, and we're going to follow through with that on the BFS by the end of May. Now, what I'll also say is that this is a discovery asset. We decided not to just continue with the drill bit and drill and drill and drill. What we wanted to do is get to ourselves to a point where we can fund production, generate cash, and then basically drive the exploration with the cash that we're generating from production. We were brought this project by 2 geologists who are well known for founding the Bela Sun Volta Grande project. It is the biggest undeveloped gold project in Brazil. Unfortunately, and not a great jurisdiction, unlike this project. But we're very confident that we see a very significant addition of ounces coming forward. In Argentina, I'm going to make no bones about it. Argentina is a complicated place to work, but at the same point, lots of significant companies, Yamana, Newmont, Anglo are our neighbors in this belt in which we're in, the Deseado Massif. It's a very prolific mine belt, and we see a tremendous growth opportunity here for Minera Don Nicolas. Even though we're in production, even though we're going to be generating 60 to 70,000 ounces this year, our expectation is that we're going to see a lot more ounces as we move forward. So that's a really promising opportunity as well, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we go forward. We've grown, how can you look at us? Well, we've actually come into the project in 2020, which is really tough times. We've grown our production. We've reduced our costs in Argentina. We're going to be bringing on the Brazilian asset in 2024 for first full year production in 25. And we're going to see this company develop some really strong progress moving up to a mid-tier producer by 2025. We have a history of production and a history of building assets, a history of selling assets. The team, the core of the team, basically we're involved with Desert Sun. We sold that Jacobina project to Yamana for $600 million in 2007. In terms of, we went on to build Largo Resources in Brazil. We founded that, we built it. It's now the cheapest, highest grade vanadium project in the world. And then on top of that, we went over and we turned around Sierra Metals. And we took that from a 200 million market cap to a 600 million market cap in a couple of years. So I think we've got a good history of making money for people, of developing projects, of good quality work. Here we are in the Monte de Carmo project in Brazil. What we're looking at is we're in the north of Brazil. The amazing thing here is that the project is 1 kilometer from a paved road. We're 5 kilometers from the main highway that runs north to south. And basically what we look at is we're 45 minutes from the capital, which has an international airport, and we're 45 minutes from a town of 90,000. To the south of us, about 3 kilometers, we've got the town of Monte de Carmo. They have a population of about 7,000 people. They are extremely supportive of this project, as is the state of Tocantins, which you always need to have when you're developing a project. So, if we look at the infrastructure from a topography, from power, we've got a 69 kV power line running through the property. We have all the water we need. We have a labor force and quick access. So the reality is we've got everything we need for a very good project to move quickly. We also have a really nice resource, and the resource is pure, pretty much pure gold. It's a very clean ore, and it's a very easy ore to process, which is why we can produce a project where we anticipate, approximately 600 or less in our all-in sustaining costs. If you look on the right-hand side, you'll see this is an epithermal system. It's a granite hydrogeothermal system that basically interspersed with felsic volcanics. And basically you'll see on this map in the white, these are all Garimpero workings historically. Garimperos, conquistadors, and the fact is that this is where you see the historical mining. We saw the same thing at Jacobina, where we took the ounces there from 3 million to 6 million ounces when we sold it to Yamana. So we expect that with all these different areas that we see work on throughout the whole property, we'll see a lot more ounces. But as I was saying earlier, it's very clean ore. When we do our gravity separation, we get 85% recovery from gravity separation alone. And then when we do the flotation leaching, it takes it up to about 98.5%. So it's very clean. The retention time is very low, so we don't use a lot of chemicals. It's very inexpensive to process. And then the second thing, which is benefit about that, is that we can use an off-the-shelf plant. And as a consequence, we don't need we don't need to customize it, which makes it very inexpensive in terms of development. What's wrong with this? In terms of the, can you give me a clock?
Can we get the timer?
Okay. Sorry, guys. So in terms of sorry, guys. In terms of we expect this to be one of the lowest cost producers in the world. When we did our PEA, we had an all-in cost of $611 for the life of mine. Basically, our expectation for the first 5 years was about $450. I think it's going to be a little higher than that, inflation, et cetera, but it's not going to be dramatically ahead of that. We are in a district. We have 1.3 million ounces. We drilled that with less than 50,000 meters of drilling. When we acquired the project, we had one area called Cerrado that basically had 6,000 meters of drilling. That is where we have the 1.3 million ounces. We are now engaged in a very substantive 25,000 meter exploration program that basically we're expecting to see some significant results and significant addition to our resources. We will be in construction by the end of the year. We'll be in construction on this project by the end of the year to be producing our first gold in the fourth quarter of 2024 with our first full year of production in 2025. That's not a long way away from now. It's quite scary in certain respects. And likewise, we expect the feasibility. I don't necessarily believe that we're going to be at that 95% IRR, but I think we're going to have an exceptional IRR. Again, probably one of the best IRRs that I've seen in my career, with a very low CapEx. We haven't seen dramatic increase in our CapEx, more on the OpEx side. So I think that it's going to be a very marginal project in the sense that we're not going to need a ton of funding, maybe 150 million, as we kind of declared in our PEA. You look at us on a comparative basis. We've been public now for 2 years. We've been in business for this is our 5th year being in business. We're not particularly well known as a company, so we're kind of coming out of here from left field to a lot of people. It hasn't been the best environment in the mining sector for the last couple of years, particularly not on the equity side, although commodity prices have done phenomenally well, and we make a lot of money at these levels. So we're very happy with the business, how we've progressed, and we look at us on a comp basis. We're very inexpensive. Here's our development schedule. As I mentioned, I've gone through it. Basically, construction completed by the end of 24, into production very rapidly thereafter. Lots of expansion for resource in Brazil, where we see tremendous opportunity to really drive this project. When the two geologists brought us this project, they told us that they felt that there was north of 5 million ounces. They've got a good history. They kind of know what they're talking about in many respects. We believe them. We see all these different opportunities at all different levels that we can drive. In Argentina, again, Argentina is complicated, but at the same point, the endowment of the resources on the belt, the Deseado Massive in which we're in, is phenomenal. You have Anglo, they've produced 8.5 million ounces. You got Yamana with 3 million ounces. You got Newmont with 7.5, 8 million ounces. We control the biggest land position on this belt, 333,000 hectares. I think that's bigger than the state of Rhode Island. So it's a real good position to be in. We're in the very early stages of development of this project. If you look at this as a comparative basis to these other projects, we're just a baby. There's been no exploration on this project since 2014. We spent 2 years, basically 18 months, really trying to just keep the lights on and keep the water out of the boat, as it were, and that was to the end of 2021. Now we're embarking upon a significant program to drive exploration and to actually drive life of mine, and it's working. It's going very, very well. So we expect to see a new heap leach pad coming on stream in May, and then basically we expect to see another heap leach by the end of the year, as well as going underground in July. So a lot going on there, generating hopefully a lot of cash, spending cash at the moment, but all that cash has been funded down and out of Argentina, and it's non-dilutive to Canada. I'll go, again, talking about the heap leach, one heap leach, underground, lots of exploration potential here. We're in elephant country. We hope to be, a baby calf, as it were, growing pretty dramatically. We have a market cap right now of 70 million Canadian, probably a cash position approximately 15 million US. With regard to management owns about 40% of the company. We're very much aligned with shareholders, and we treat this as a business that is going to grow pretty dramatically as we move forward. We've got some good coverage, as well as our friends at Red Cloud. Thank you for the conference, and thank you for your participation. Very happy to address any questions that you may or may not have.